I'm once again creating pictures here in the English Midlands, so why not come and join me on this week's landscape adventures as I explore the Grand Union Canal. Today may or may not work out. Now, I have an ulterior motive for this one. I'm thinking of moving to a location near a canal, so for today I decided what I'm going to do with the couple of hours daylight that I've got left is head down to that canal and have a bit of a snoop around and see what's there. So I've walked from the house that I'm hoping to get to where I am now, which as you can see is next to the Grand Union Canal, and I'm really hopeful that we'll get some nice shots down here. Now there's a bit of sun come out, as you can see it's kind of overcast in the sky, but a little bit of sun's come out, which is nice because it gives me a nice bit of diffused lighting. This is quite a nice walk so far. I've literally only gone about 100 yards, but you know, if I do manage to secure this property, I'm waiting to find out. In fact, by the time this video comes out, either I'll have moved here or I'll be, I don't know, lying in a ditch somewhere. Either way, hopefully I'll be somewhere in this area. I'm walking now along the canal, and I'm in two minds as to whether to use my telephoto or my standard kit lens, because I think there might be some interesting close-up shots here. I'm not entirely sure there's going to be huge landscape sort of full frame shots, but I think there might be some interesting detail. I'm going to keep walking and then I'll make a decision as I go along. So far so good. You know, as I've mentioned, it's a real mix of industrial and nature here, and it's been quite interesting so far. I mean, I've only taken a handful of shots and I've used my kit lens. I haven't got my telephoto lens out yet. I'm quite enjoying this, and there's quite a lot to discover down here, so it's quite exciting. This is alright, isn't it? Look at this. When the world gets back to normal, stop for a canal side beer and an ice cream. 2-minute walk from my house. I'm going to admit I'm being quite lazy here. I'm kind of leaning quite heavily on the image stabilization on my camera, and I'm shooting at 1600 ISO. It's really muddy here, and I'm not in the mood for a full-on landscape adventure, so I'm shooting mainly handheld. As you can imagine, it's wonderfully peaceful here. There's lots of wonderful reflections in the water as well, because the water here is so still. I found this quite fascinating though. This behind me here is the local college, and you can see how there is a hole that's been ripped in the fence, where clearly the students have had enough and decided to come over here for, well, whatever they do. I'll leave that to your own imagination and your own decrepit past. I am nothing if not a man of many contradictions. No longer than maybe 2 minutes after I filmed that last little bit of video, I got my tripod out. Now, that's not a euphemism. I decided there's some water here. I thought I'd try and get some long exposure shots. I've just been playing around by running across the lock thing, key. I've forgotten what this thing's called. Oh, memory block. Anyway, I ran across this thing and got to the other side, and I tried a few times and I was too late, because even with a 10-second timer, getting across here while remaining steady is a bit of a task. But I did manage to get there in the end, and I think I got one shot I'm happy with, but again, we'll see how it turns out in post. So yeah, I've just had a really interesting conversation with someone on the lock, and he was chatting to me for a long while I was trying to get some long exposure pictures, and I think they've come out okay. I'm not 100% sure yet. Obviously I won't find out till I get back, but compositionally wise they look okay. I'm not sure, they might have overexposed in places and they might not quite be as sharp as I'd like, but I'll find out when I get them into the computer. Yeah, a guy was chatting to me while I was doing it, explained to me how he used to be into photography and took some pictures of a whale in Alaska, which was quite interesting. And that's the only problem with being a middle-aged man with a camera. You tend to attract the attention of other middle-aged men as they're out on their own. But hey, it's friendly, isn't it? I'm not complaining. I'm going to keep walking down here. You'll have noticed that today I have a brand new accessory with me. I have this. Oh, where's it gone? It's gone round. There you go. I've clearly shifted it too many times. This is my brand new night hat. So hopefully no problems if I end up staying out later than I intended to today. So I've just taken some shots of a boat on the canal, which is bright blue, which was a nice contrast from the rest of the colours around. Of course, I mentioned earlier getting lost. I can't actually get lost. I'm walking down a canal. I've literally got to turn around and walk back the same way. I guess at least I'll be able to see what puddles I'm treading in. Don't actually know where I am. I think I'm sort of towards Blaby and Whetstone area now. I'm guessing Whetstone. Don't know the geography of this area that well. I started in South Wixton. I'm not sure there's much else left to shoot down here. I mean, it's all much of a muchness now. The interesting things are people's houses, but a lot of them have back gardens which back onto the canal, and I don't really want to be taking pictures of them because that's just a bit intrusive. Unless I can, of course, make it interesting with a different subject matter or something like that. But yeah, it's just been an interesting little walk so far. It's fascinating. Everyone's really interested in what I'm doing here, and although it's quite nice because people are generally very friendly and they just want to know what you're up to, you do kind of feel like you're being interrogated a little bit. It's like, what are you taking a picture of? Well, I'm doing something with reflections. That's what I'm doing now, by the way. I'm trying to get a reflection of a house in the canal with this wonderful line at the back. I don't know, lining of the canal, I don't know what you call it. Hopefully it'll turn out alright, but I had to explain to him, you know, I'm just doing this photo and I'm going to flip it and hopefully have a nice reflection. Alright, what's the point in that then? So you know how I said earlier that there's no chance of getting lost because all I've got to do is turn around and go back the same way? I thought I'd put a little bit of spice in the meatball. I don't even know if that's a saying, I don't even know if that makes sense. What I do know is I've decided to walk back an alternative route now. Again, as long as I'm alongside the canal, I should be able to find my way back fairly easily. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so on this occasion, I've decided to let common sense prevail. See, I did start walking around the roads, and then I realised just how big this area is, and how far away from the canal I was going to have to go to come back onto it. So for now, I'm just going to go back alongside the canal. The camera's away, I think I'm pretty much done with photos, certainly canal side. Interestingly, I might take some when I get back. There's a really nice industrial area near where I've parked the car. So when I get there, I'll have a look, see if there's any likes on the industrial units, and see if there's any decent photos there. But for now, I'm just going to focus on not falling in the canal. As much as I am very jumpy, in the dark, in strange places, it's really reassuring actually that across the road, you've got all these residences. So although I am on the verge of the countryside, and I am next to a canal, it's actually bizarrely peaceful and relaxing, and I don't feel scared at all. Well, I'm back in the car. I didn't take any shots of the industrial estate when I got back because the small bit that I walked through just wasn't anything interesting there. I really hope I get this house because there's some really interesting shots to be had in this area in general, and I actually realised I only walked in one direction from the point where I accessed the canal, so there's a whole other walk to be had as well, not to mention obviously the rest of the canal. I've had a quick look through the pictures on the back of the camera and I really quite like a lot of them. There's one in particular, really simple one of a leaf, needs a tiny bit cloning out of it I think in Photoshop, but once I've done that I really like it the way it is. There's a couple of other shots as well, some reflections and things that I really like, so I think I've got a handful of relatively decent shots from that, which is quite surprising really, given a lot of it was handheld pot shots. Anyway, that brings us to the end. So as always, please do hit the like button and please subscribe as well. That is so important. I'm trying to get up to 100 subscribers so that I can get my custom YouTube URL. I think I'm at 31 at the time I'm recording this, so hopefully that's gone up because there'll have been a couple more episodes out since then. But yeah, please do hit the subscribe button. I mean, it's so simple. It's the easiest way to support me because it just means that my face pops up on your feed once a week and says, do you want to watch this? And you can just go, no, I've had enough of his face. Or you can go, yes, I really like his face, I'd like to see some more of his face. It's completely up to you. Just do what you like, but hit the subscribe button, and given that you've watched this far, that is just going to really help me. So yeah, thanks for coming with me. This has been Landscape Adventures, and here are the photos from today's trip.